Hey, coaches, welcome to another Football Scoop Online Clinic presentation. Really fired up. We got our first FBS coordinator on today with Nevada Special Teams Coordinator Thomas Sheffield. So, Coach Sheff, you got the floor, man. Take it away.
Hey, guys. I hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everybody's doing well. I got asked to do this, and I wanted to. I really wanted to do this and share kind of what we do from a culture aspect, how we implement our culture, as you see on the screen. My name is Thomas Sheffield. I'm the special teams coordinator at the University of Nevada. Was given a great opportunity to come here, and we've started to, even though we're Zoom meeting everything, we've already started implementing what we call the ride or die culture. All right, so the ride or die culture is something that I started back at Pine Bluff, and the reason I did it is just ride or die is something that's always stuck with me for whatever reason. It's always been how I've tried to live life, I guess, how I've attacked all obstacles in life. And I think that, through this journey that is life, you got to ride or die. You're going to have family members that you got to, go through anything and everything with, and you got to stay by their side, and you expect people to do that along this journey. And so throughout my coaching journey, I've had a lot of people that have been quote unquote ride or die with me. A lot of people have invested in me in this journey, and a lot of people have sacrificed a lot for me so that I can make it to the University of Nevada and I can get this opportunity and take full advantage of it. And so it's just something that's always stuck with me, and I think that it can be implemented on the football field as well. And I'm not saying that you got to go with ride or die, man. You got to find whatever works for you, which I'll get more into here in a second. But that is our culture. It's ride or die. We're going to do what others won't do for each other. We're going to do anything and everything and whatever it takes to be successful, not only on special teams, but as a football team and as individuals. All right. So let me get this started right here. All right. So the topics that we'll be going over as we start to create our cultures: when to define and establish the culture. All right. I think this has to be priority number one. And we'll talk more about it as we go through this. And then number two is showing why special teams is important. If you are under the influence that people came to to whatever university or whatever high school you're at to come play special teams, obviously you know that that's not true. All right, they are there to play offense or defense. That is what they want to do. As they were a little kid, they weren't pretending to be Bill Bates. All right, they were pretending to be Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, guys like that. And so you have to show them why special teams is important, why they have to pay attention to every little detail that you're talking about, and how it's going to help them and in their future. All right. The third topic we'll talk about is practice, how we practice and how we create constant competition. All right. The thing that number four is something that you have to take on as a special teams coordinator or special teams coach is you got to practice what you preach. So if I'm talking about ride or die, I got to be ride or die, not just on the field, but off the field as well. Number five is huge. And I think this is for any coach, whether it's position, it's coordinator, whatever. You got to build relationships with your football players. And then the last but not least, probably the most important thing for me that I had to learn was just being authentic. Be you. Whoever you are, that's who you have to be. That's who you have to show your kids. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you got to be who you are. All right. So define and establish. All right. We talked about when do you want to define and when do you want to establish. First, you got to define whatever your culture, whatever your slogan, whatever your brand. I call it my brand. Whatever your brand is, you got to come up with a definition for it. So the definition for ride or die is the willingness to always stand side by side with each other, all right, no matter the circumstances. I've been a part of some pretty good beatdowns in my coaching profession, and, man, we didn't care about the circumstances. We ran back out on kickoff. We ran back out on kickoff return, and we went to war just like it was 0-0. It didn't matter to us. That showed me in those times of chaos and those times of those beatdowns, man, you really find out who is a part of your culture, who's bought into your culture. And again, going on the definition, the willingness to do whatever is necessary for each other, no matter what. The willingness to fight and sacrifice for each other, and the willingness to do what others won't. This, when I think about kickoff and you talk about hey, I'm asking this kid to run down on kickoff full speed and go make a tackle, man, you got to have some ride or die in you. You got to be sold out to the culture. You got to be sold out to the brand. You talk about the willingness to do what others won't. There's going to be some guys on your football team that won't want to run down. They won't give you that extra speed and that extra physicality that you need on kickoff to be successful. So you got to identify those guys once your culture is installed and make sure you are running out the 11 baddest dudes on the planet on your kickoff. And so that's part of the ride or die thing, man. We got to find dudes who are unselfish and guys who want to go and do those things that others won't. And we do a really good job of identifying those. That's why we've had some success. We'll continue to have success. And when to establish it, guys, you got to come in hot day one. All right? You got to show them who you really are in that first interaction you have with them. You can't hold back. If you're loud and you got energy and passion, you got to show it in that first meeting. You have to. You can't be reserved because you don't know these guys yet. And show them who you are. Show them who you're going to be on a day in and day out basis, and make sure you're not holding anything back. All right. And then set the standard and expectation in that first meeting. All right. So you've defined what ride or die means to them. You've shown them the energy. You've shown them the passion that you have for special teams and how it can help them. Now you got to set the standard and expectation. And this is the biggest thing for me. So I learned this at North Texas, man. It's good to have a mission. And then within that mission, you got to have goals. So, our mission is to affect the drive start average, which we'll talk about here in a minute. It is statistically proven the better drive start average. If you win the drive start average battle, you're going to win that football game. You're going to increase your chances of scoring. And so that's our mission on all aspects of special teams. Increase the drive start average, affect it in a positive manner. All right. Now within that mission, and the mission is to be the best. We want to be recognized as the best special teams units in the country. So within those two missions right there, that big mission is we got goals. All right. Our goals are to be top 25 in the country in every aspect of in all phases of special teams, not just in our conference. We want to be in the top 25 in the country. All right. And that's going to be the expectation. And that's the standard. Within our conference, we want to be in the top 3 on all phases. And so it's good for us. We show that. We show the drive start average chart. We show the goals. We show the mission. We show that in every single meeting we do. All right. So which leads to the meetings. All right. Those meetings, you have to set some rules. All right. We do a great job of setting rules of, hey, in order for us to be successful on the field, this is what we got to do in this meeting room. All right. If we want to complete this mission and we want to accomplish these goals, we got to elevate how we participate in the meeting room. We got to be really special in this room right here. All right. And then the level of effort. This sometimes, again, this comes back to finding out who's ride or die. The effort has to be at peak level at all times. If we're running down on kickoff, man, we got to be guns a-blazing full speed. What I tell them from an effort standpoint is I give it a definition. For me, the definition is the satisfactory manner of completion. I took that from the Arizona Cardinals, the satisfactory manner of completion. And then I tell them who decides that. I decide that as the coordinator. So with the effort level, we're gonna create a great effort level by creating competition throughout practices. In the meeting room, we create competition. And all aspects of what we do, it's got to be competition oriented. All right. Now it goes to the next one, the importance. All right, guys, they just see special. Like I said, nobody came to your university or nobody on your high school football team is there and they said, oh, I'm going to take this scholarship because I want to go play special teams. That's not what, again, they want to be Troy Aikman. They want to be Emmitt Smith. They want to be Tom Brady. They want to be Michael. They want to be those guys. That's what they came to do. All right. So we got to give some statistical data on the impact of the game. All right. So we call it the Bob Wager effect. All right. Bob Wager is a legendary football coach at Arlington Martin High School. He's got a really good relationship with one of my mentors, Tommy Perry, who's the special coordinator at UTSA. And he gave us this chart and the statistical data that he created. And so everybody in the country, most special teams coordinators and most coaches say special teams accounts for a third of the game. That's not true. If you really break it down and you look at the statistical data, it's 17 to 19% on any given year. 17 to 19% of all plays in a season and in a game come from special teams. The number that we have to pay attention to and that we got to preach to our kids is the effect that it has on the yardage. So while it only accounts for between 17 and 19% of a game from a play aspect, it accounts for 34 to 38% of all yards within a game and within a season. All right. And that number is huge because I think kids aren't dumb. They're going to see that, hey, this really isn't a third of the game. But stressing 17 to 19%, one shot, one kill type deal, we got to be assassins. And then the other thing is, hey, what we do on this one play between this 9 to whatever 13, 14 seconds, however long it takes for a typical special teams play, it's gonna have a huge outcome on yards. All right. So, we went back and we broke it down, and last year it accounted for 34% of our yardage from a team aspect. All right. Offense accounted for 31. The defense accounted for 34%. I'm sorry, special teams accounted for 35%. So we gotta stress that number. That's the number we should be stressing as special teams coaches, is the number, the percentage that accounts for the yardage aspect of it. And so that's what we're going to start doing. Again, thanks to Bob Wager, the huge for us that he shared that information with us, and now we can take it to the next level. And then use NFL and college individual special team success stories. All right. Bill Bates comes to mind. Matthew Slater for the New England Patriots. This is a dude that went to UCLA to play receiver and turned into a strictly special teams player, was drafted in the 5th round of the NFL draft, and has been a staple for the New England Patriots. And all this man has done is play special teams. In his 11-year career, he has one catch for 46 yards. One. A receiver in 11 years of playing in the NFL has one catch for 46 yards. And so now you flip it, and he has like 200 and something tackles. He's got over 600 return yards. He's made a big impact, and he was just rewarded by the New England Patriots with a $24 million contract. All right. And all this guy does is play special teams. You have kids in your room that will go to the NFL or go to the CFL or whatever and be special teams football players. That's who they are, and they're going to make a lot of money. And I think the more that we share those success stories, the more we share those individuals who were probably a really good receiver or a really good running back who went to the NFL or CFL or from high school to college and became really good special teams players, had a lot of success and have been are known for it and are rewarded for it. And so it just gives them something to look forward to, gives them something to buy into, because they're saying, hey, I could be that guy that goes and gets that $24 million contract next. All right. The importance, again, we talked about it, using the drive start average map here. Somebody a lot smarter than me built this and developed this and did the statistical data behind it. But this is all statistical data that has proven to hold true throughout my coaching career. The better drive start average your offense has, the more likely they are to score. The worst drive start average that the defense that the opposing offense has, the less likely they are to score. You see it down here. 1 in 30% odds of scoring between the goal line and the 10-yard line. That's huge, right? So if we can flip the field on punt, we can flip the field on kickoff, and we can flip on the field on our return teams, we increase our chances of scoring, and we increase our defensive chances of stopping the opposing team from scoring. And last I checked, people who score the most win the game, all right? So this is something we stress every day. This is our mission. We want to affect the drive start average every single day. And everything we do, practice, games, all of it, drills, everything, our mission, our mindset is we got to do our job. We got to work these techniques so we can put ourselves in a position on offense and defense to be more successful, all right? Practice, all right? So we got to break that. My first year at Pine Bluff, when I got into that coordinator role, I was running with it. You with me? I was going full speed. I had all these drills. I had all these ideas of when I was a GA. And I, of course, as a young coach, I had all the answers. And I knew exactly what to do, and I know how to fix everything. And so I had a ton of drills that I was implementing. I had a ton of technique I was implementing. Well, it wasn't working out, right? And I didn't understand why our kids weren't comprehending what I was telling them. So one day I just asked them, I said, guys, what's going on? Like, y'all got to help me, make me a better coach right here, right now. And they just told me, Coach, we're going too fast. We weren't really practicing special teams a whole lot. And now you're coming in and you got all this stuff, and we just don't know. We don't know it all yet. We're not grasping. We're not picking up what you're putting down, basically. And so we took that. I took that information. I said, all right, this is how we're going to structure practice. And I've been lucky enough to work for some head coaches that have given me the time that I need. We got a 5-minute period of just walkthrough. All right. So whatever drills we're working that day, that 5-minute period is that time to go through it and work those drills. All right. And we got to break it up. So on kickoff coverage, we break it up into 3 parts. All right. We got, we're really 4. You got the speed zone. All right. So we're rolling off that front foot. We're hauling tail. And then we get to the void zone. We're going to run our stick, dip, and replace. And then we're going to get into the button run emphasis of it. And then we get to the tackling. So what we did is that 5-minute period, if we've got the avoid drill going in that day, all right, we're going to take that 5 minutes and we're going to break all those pieces up into a circuit. All right. So we do a lot of circuits. All right. So we'll work a speed zone and a void zone. We'll work a button run we'll drill, and then we'll work a tackling drill. So now once they come together and we go on full on drill, they've done every single one of those things already. And now they know exactly what we're asking. It gives us time to slow it down and really teach. Sometimes I think that gets lost because we're limited on time. So we're trying to rush. When if we just slow it down, come up with a few simple concepts, a few simple terminologies, guys, they're going to understand it and they're going to pick up what you're putting down a lot faster. All right. So we got to utilize that walkthrough. That's going to depend, if you get that walkthrough, depend on what your head coach prefers. Again, when I was at Pine Bluff, Coach Cedric Thomas gave me all the time in the world. And even then I was still trying to rush. He really had to grab me and be like, hey, dude, listen, just slow it down. It's all going to be okay. I'm going to give you time. Just slow it down, make it clear and simple, and teach. All right. So I've been really lucky. And now I'm lucky with Coach Norvell. He gives me all the time I need. So I get that walkthrough period plus 2 8-minute periods. So, I mean, we're working special teams for 21 minutes a day, which is a ton of time, plus the time I get in the meeting room. All right. Clear and simple terminology. I just talked about that. Guys, if you want them to buy in, they have to understand what you're talking about. If you're just talking at them and they don't know what stick, dip, and replace means because all you've said is these sexy little words, well, they're not going to buy into your culture. They're not going to understand, and you're not going to get the results that you want. So making your terminology simple and clear, and then trying to have it carry over from one phase to another. So the terminology we use on punt is about 90% of the terminology we use on kickoff. Now, there's a few little wrinkles because they're different phases, but again, that terminology carries over. Punt return. Our terminology from punt return carries over to our terminology on kickoff return. So I think that we get caught up sometimes as coaches in all these sexy cue words where we just stop and just really put it all on a board and look at it and see where we can make it all come into and mesh into one big terminology so that it can carry over. Utilizing all your coaches. If you want your kids to buy in, your coach has got to buy in. You with me on that? So if I got position coaches for each phase, which most of y'all do, all right, but they have to be preaching the same message. They have to be preaching the exact same techniques, the exact same mission statement, all that stuff. They have to be able to preach it as well. So position coaches, they got to, if they're position coaches on offense and defense, they need to be position coaches on special teams. And the same goes for your head coach. If you have a head coach where, again, at Arkansas Pine Bluff, Coach Thomas is ball coach. He just wanted to coach. So I put him in the mix, and he had his own position on each phase, right? And so that helps. If you can get your head coach to coach a position, if you can get your position coaches to really coach their position, guys, those players are going to see, hey, our coaches are all about special teams. They're ride or die too about special teams. We need to buy in as well. And so I think that helps with the culture when you have everyone in this organization preaching the same message when it comes to your special teams terminology, code, mission, whatever you want to call it, goals, all that stuff. And then drill of practice period isn't over until you call it up and we break it out on ride or die. So that just sends the message of basically, this is our culture. This is who we're going to be. And every time after we finish something, a meeting, walkthrough, position, whatever it may be, we're breaking out. We're coming together as a unit, and we're breaking it out on ride or die. Y'all with me on that? And whatever your culture is, whatever your slogan, your brand, I encourage you to do it, all right? And bring some energy to that call. It's not just go in and ride or die. No, man, be enthusiastic. Bring that energy. Bring that passion. Because if you're really passionate about the ride or die and they see it in every aspect that you do throughout practice and throughout the day, well, then it's going to carry over to them and they're going to buy in a lot quicker. All right. Creating competition. This is huge. Just in special teams in general, guys, you're going to have some kids that try to hide out. All right. There's going to be some kids that don't want to do this. You have to implement them. You have to get them involved. And the best way that I've felt, the best way I've seen it done, and the best way that it's worked best for me is just getting those guys in a competitive state. So you might have a star receiver who you're trying to, you want to be a frontline guy. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but if you have that guy and you want to see him on tape, we'll put him up against somebody. Find out somebody who's evenly matched with him and create that competition. So we place a lot of emphasis. We got a certain amount of drills that are competition-based. That's it. And it's punt versus punt return and kickoff versus kickoff return. And now that I'm doing field goal block, it's going to be field goal versus field goal block. We're going to create competition everything we do. All right. That's going not only to increase the enthusiasm during your special teams periods, but it's also going to get guys to compete and create that ride or die culture, or whatever. Again, whatever your slogan is, it's going to create that culture, and you're going to get the most out of your kids when it comes to special teams. Team versus scouts. Guys, we don't give up on our scout team guys, all right? I give our scout guys every opportunity to be successful and to earn a place on that bus. I never, ever, ever stop evaluating them, all right? Never. So let's say we got a guy who went through fall camp and he was on that depth chart for any of the phases. He's gone through all the drills and he just doesn't make the bus. Well, now I put him in that same position that I had him repping on punt return or kickoff or whatever, and I put him in that position on scouts. So the emphasis for them now is, hey, I'm still evaluating you. I'm still grading you, and we give them grade sheets. We make sure they know they're being watched. They get a grade sheet. Our GA has meetings with them so that they know that it's not over for them, because it's a long season. At some point, guys, you may need one or two scout guys, and you got to know who's the best ones based off that grading system and understand who is really picking up the concepts and the technique that you want. So we give our scouts all the opportunity to work and earn a spot on the bus, all right? The evaluation never stops. The grading never stops for those guys. The position meetings never stop. We do a really good job of pulling those guys in and meeting with them with our staff. And so if that helps you, I hope it does. Take full advantage of it, man. It takes extra work on our part, but heck, man, those kids deserve it, and you're gonna need them. Every year that I've done this, I've needed to pull a scout team guy up, and I was able to do that successfully and put him in a spot that I knew he could excel at because of that grading system and because we've stayed on top of it. Creating a point system to see who the top dog is. Drills, games, all of it. It all has to carry over to your goal board, and not only your goal board, but your point system, which I'll show you in a second. And then we do a player of the week on each phase. So I don't just like to do one special teams player of the week. I like to do a special teams player of the week for each phase. again, creating competition within that phase. So you got the 11 baddest dudes on the planet running down on kickoff. Well, we're going to recognize who really was the baddest dude on that kickoff. Same for punt, same for punt return, same for kickoff return. There's going to be a guy within each phase that has had a lot of success and that has done what you've asked them to do. And we got to recognize those guys. And I think that, again, it's a reward system. They feel great. They want to be that guy. It's creating competition. It's rewarding. Right? We're creating competition. Who's going to be the player of the week on each phase, not just in special teams in general, but on each phase. All right. So you get guys who are really trying to compete within the game against each other of who's going to be the best on this phase, so they can be recognized in front of their team, and we can throw them a t-shirt or a hat or something that they like. You know, kids are simple. They just want stuff. They just want stuff. They don't care what it is. They just want to be recognized. They want to be rewarded. But again, you get that competition aspect. So here's kind of our point system of how we do our point system. Right, wrong, or indifferent. You can adjust this however you want. This is what we've used in the past. I'm actually going to adjust it just a little bit because it's really when the last few years that I've done it, the specialists always win. And so just because the point level, they're rewarded a lot for doing their job. And so, but we want to make our specialists a part of it. We want them to strive for greatness as well. But again, this is something that we put in the team room. They always see this. Player 1, player 2 will have their names in there. And, man, it's a dogfight. I mean, you get guys coming in the meeting, checking this board and creating competition with that meeting. You get them talking crap to each other, and you get them striving to be the number 1 top dog on this list. And so it's pretty rewarding. It creates the competition. It creates a reward system. Top 3 guys at the end of the year, get a hat, T-shirt. Again, kids don't care. They just want something. And we do that. We do a really good job of that. All right. Practice what you preach. Now, this gets into you as a special teams coordinator, all right, or a special teams coach. Guys, if you expect the kids to buy into what you are doing, you have to be the example of ride or die. And with everything you do, and you have to put your brand out there. All right. So for me, before I did this presentation, I asked a few of my former players, hey, give me some things that I did well, right? Tell me how I practice what I preach. And they told me energy and passion is something I always have. Guys, I love special teams. I didn't love special teams. I was an offensive guy who wanted to be the next great offensive coordinator and a great next head coach, and special teams kind of just found me. I got an opportunity at the University of North Texas with Tommy Perry. He gave me an opportunity after a pretty mediocre interview because, to be honest, I didn't really know what I was talking about, but I kind of just winged it. And he gave me an opportunity as a volunteer, and then I moved into a GA role. But I always had the energy and passion because it's football. I love football. And then once I started to develop myself as a special teams coach, man, I fell in love with it even more because at the end of the day, this is mine. This is my impact on the football game, right? And this is my drills. This is my voice. This is my culture. This is my brand. And so I'm very passionate, and I have a lot of energy for that. Attention to detail, that's part of being ride or die. Your attention to detail has to be elite. It has to be elite because when you can go into that meeting room and you can tell guys like, hey, this backside guard is your indicator on kickoff return, man, there's not a lot of coaches that I shouldn't say that. There's not a lot of coaches that can give that elite feedback to their kids. And there are tons, and they're where they're supposed to be, but the attention to detail has to be elite. If you can show elite attention to detail, man, and you can show those kids and give them cues of, hey, this is what's tipping me off, you're going to be successful. You're going to help your kids out. You're going to help your product. Teaching, not yelling. All right, there's going to be a time and place to yell when things consistently get messed up, but teaching, guys. Teaching. That's what we're here to do. We're not here to dog, cuss, and yell. Of course, we're going to have a few choice words in there. I'm the epitome of choice words, but I teach. It's part of my teaching. It's just who I am. Again, goes to authenticity. I am who I am, and that's who I'm going to be. And not everybody's going to like that. Not every head coach is going to like some of the words I use, but I'm not yelling. I'm teaching. I'm putting my passion and my energy into those words, and I'm teaching. And one thing that I think we do a great job of, we celebrate right answers in the meeting room. So my meeting rooms are very interactive. Guys, it's not just me talking at them. Guys, I want questions asked. I want to make sure kids are paying attention. So at any given moment, I'm picking a kid and I'm saying, hey, here's the question, answer it for me. And when those questions get answered the right way and it's the right answer, man, we're going to celebrate that right answer. Again, it gives reward to people doing things the right way, especially on special teams. And then who wants to be a millionaire Q&A? All right. So this is something nerdy and cheesy of me. But we have to find the right answer. So if I call on a kid and he doesn't know the right answer, man, I'm not bashing that kid. I'm not dog cussing that kid. I'm letting him phone a friend in the meeting room. Hey, phone a friend. All right. Ask the audience. Let's find out the right answer. So now not only can you get that kid the right answer and not make him feel like this little for not knowing the answer, we can get him the help amongst his peers. And then you also find out who knows the information with the phone a friend or the ask the audience type Q&A. All right. Again, nerdy and cheesy, I get that, but it works. All right. Again, having an interactive meeting room. All right. Talk with the kids, not at them. All right. But I don't want to just be up there spitting out information. Here's your drills. Here's your drills. All right. Ready, break. No. All right. We got to slow it down. All right. We got to call on a kid and say, hey, I'm going to be the punt guy as the coach. You're the punt return guy. Let's talk about this technique. Let's show a full demonstration of this technique in the meeting room. Y'all with me on that? If they can see you doing it and they can see you preaching it and then applying it, man, that's part of your culture, right? You're doing what they're trying to do, right? You're doing exactly what you're asking them to do. Demonstrate drills at full speed. Guys on that field, if we're running a bullish drill and it's not done properly and they're not grasping what I'm picking up or what I'm asking them to do, man, I'm running that full speed. I'm like, hey, here's the example. All right, let's do this. I'm running full speed as the punt guy, punt return guy. You fit on me. You sit and fit. But I'm going to run down there full speed, and I'm going to give them a demonstration. And I do that in the meeting room as well, like I just talked about. All right, and then be willing to do what they do. This is something I learned from Tashard Choice, running backs coach at Georgia Tech. He was always preaching, hey, if I'm asking these guys to do it, I need to do it too. So you'll see me on practice film. I'm running down on kickoff with them. Now, it's at a much slower pace. I mean, it's my full speed, but these are elite athletes, so I'm trailing them. But this also, what I found, is helped me see the picture. So I can see what they're seeing, A, and then B, it helps me coach because I'm like, yeah, I saw this, but this is how we defend it. All right, this is the technique we use. So I'm all about running down on kickoff. I'm all about going out at that gunner position and trying to get from point A to point B. I'm all about it, and I'm going to do it. All right, and I think that when they see you running down on kickoff, it makes it a little easier for them to run down on kickoff as well, because they're like, man, coach is really ride or die. He's really all about this thing. And so that's just something I do. You don't have to do it. It's something I do, and I think that I can't tell you the amount of times kids are like, wow, coach, you're running down too? I'm like, yeah, I'm running down too. If I'm asking you to do it, I got to do it. You with me? But it's also helped me see the picture that they're seeing and help me coach off that picture. All right. Social media presence. All right. If you know anything about me, I'm going to be who I am. My social media presence, I like to think it's elite. I like to think it's electric. But my main goal when I started some of the videos that I started was I wanted people to see what I mean by ride or die. I want people to see the passion and energy I have for special teams and I have for specialists. And the only way I knew to do that was to get on camera and pour that energy out onto Twitter. And so we live in a social media world, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And so you got to adjust and you got to adapt to that. If you want your culture out there and you want your kids who may be at home to see that culture, you got to present that culture every single day on and off the field. All right. The meeting room. All right. Understand this as coaches for me. This is what's worked. All right. I had to learn. It's not only my time to teach and learn, but it's also theirs. They're not just sitting in those chairs to learn, guys. They're there to teach each other. They're to teach you. I wouldn't be the special teams coach that I am. I wouldn't have grown if I wouldn't have just stopped for a second and in that first year at Pine Bluff and just asked those guys, like, where is the disconnect? Why aren't we picking up those simple drills? They taught me a lot about my delivery. They taught me about how fast I was going. They taught me that I needed to slow down and simplify, all right? Simplify my verbiage and the terminology that I was using and drills. So learn from your players. Don't have this ego of walking in that room, I know everything. I think when you can show that vulnerability to them and show them that, hey, I can make mistakes too, guys, man, you'll be surprised. You'll be shocked on the response you get, all right? Again, we talked about having an interactive meeting room. I'm going to call on kids. They're going to teach. They're going to stand up and go through the drills with me and have to teach the rest of the players exactly what I just taught them. All right, but now those guys are hearing it from their peers. All right, eliminate talking at them and start talking with them. We just talked about that a little bit. Celebrate right answers in the meeting room. We've already hit that. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Q&A, again, cheesy and nerdy. But again, it's worked. It's worked for me, and it's been extremely beneficial in the vibe and the energy within that meeting room. When you get that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire opportunity, it's electric, man. And you get guys who are enjoying their time in the special teams meeting room. Use that space in the meeting room. All right, whatever meeting room you have, there's space in there. So, for example, something I started doing at Pine Bluff, man, I was teaching steps. I was teaching technique on our punt steps, and I was teaching it over and over and over again, and guys weren't necessarily picking it up as fast as I was like. And I was trying to figure out how I could steal reps. How can I get these guys to practice this the right way? Because they've done it wrong 1,000,000 times. I need them to do it right 2,000,000 times so that I can fix this. So what I would do is if I found some film during the meetings where I'm highlighting, hey, this is bad steps, we got to fix this. And I get those guys up and they got to stand with the coach, with the position coach in that meeting room and work their steps right there 100 times the right way. It's got to be that. And I know that's extreme. I'm an extremist. Right? It doesn't have to be 100, but if you can get them, if you can steal that time in that meeting room, if you can find a space in that meeting room to have them do their steps right or do whatever technique you're trying to teach, if you can get them in that meeting room in front of their peers with a position coach to ensure that it's done right, man, you're stealing reps. You're getting what you need. And again, you're going back to your standard and expectations. The expectations and the standard is we're going to have perfect footwork. Well, if you don't fix it in that meeting room, if you don't fix it, if you just talk at them and just tell them, hey, this is what you got to do, but you don't make them do it, guys, you're never going to get your culture right. You understand? But by standing them up with a position coach in front of their peers, they understand, hey, coach is really about this. This is really ride or die. He's going to make sure we're doing this the right way no matter what. And that's something, again, that's worked for us. And again, it's extreme. I know 100 times, and it's not just 100 times one way. It's 100 times to the right, 100 times to the left, or whatever it is, that the technique issue that we're trying to fix. It's 100 times. We're going to get it right 100 times before we go back on that football field. One-on-one meetings to fix problems. All right, this has to be a priority if you're limited on time on and off the field. If you only get a 10-minute special teams meeting, well, realistically, that's not enough time to teach everything you need to teach. So you have to get with the kids, bring them into your office, or get your position coaches on special teams to bring them into their office, and you have to watch film with them. You have to make that a priority. Those one-on-one meetings, man, those kids get the most out of that. You as a coach get the most out of that. But it also shows those kids, hey, special teams is a huge priority. All right, this is going to be a part of what we do. We have to be really good at it, because if we're getting pulled to the side and having to watch this over and over again, guys, it's going to click for them. It's going to make them understand that this is a huge priority. This isn't just the other part of the game. It's a huge part of the game, and we got to make sure we take responsibility for it. And we got to fix these points of emphasis, and we got to continue to grow as special teams players. All right. Again, falls back into your culture, your standards, and your expectations. All right. And then take responsibility. Guys, like I talked about vulnerability, man, that's one of the biggest things that I found has been helpful for me. I'm not perfect. None of us coaches are perfect. And if you try to stand up there and show those kids that you are perfect, they're not fools. They know when you're wrong. They know when something's messed up. So an example from last year, we played Jackson State, and we got a kickoff return for a touchdown against us. It's the first time it's ever happened in my career to me and to our football team. And I'm just sitting there banging my head up against a wall, and I'm like, what happened? Like, why does this happen? We didn't have a very good year on kickoff, and I'm trying to figure out why this keeps happening. And so I had a private meeting with our head coach, Cedric Thomas, and he just said, dude, they're doing what you asked them to do. And I'm like, well, why is the return? Because they're doing what you asked them to do. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they're ride or die. You got them. The culture's there. They're running full speed, 100 miles per hour, but they're running past the level of return, right? And I'm like, duh, chef, duh. So I had to go in that meeting, and I just watched the clip, and I asked everybody, I just said, raise your hand if you are doing what I asked you to do. Not one person raised their hand. And I'm looking around, I'm like, guys, y'all are doing exactly what I asked you to do. Y'all are playing at 100 miles per hour. You're running full speed. You're avoiding, but you're not coming to balance and making a tackle. And why? Because I wasn't teaching that. I was so locked in on, hey, we got to run, that I messed up and I missed a part of the teaching. And that's on me as a coach. And so I took full responsibility for it. And the outpour and the just their reaction was unbelievable. And I think that part of me, by me doing that, the culture really just took that extra step. You understand? And so take responsibility. If you mess up and just tell them. Like, they'll appreciate that more. All right. Building relationships. Now, this is huge. All right. So we talked about those one-on-one meetings. Real quick, I want to read this to you. As a special teams coordinator, if you're coordinating the special teams, you have an opportunity that no other coach besides the head coach has. All right. You get to coach every single player on your football team. Every single player. With this opportunity comes great responsibility. You're responsible for getting to know each one of them on a personal level. If it's all about football and all about special teams every time you interact with them, then you'll never get the most out of them. So you got to take advantage of this opportunity. In order for them to run down full speed on kickoff, they have to be able to ride or die for you. They can't ride or die. They can't buy into your culture if they don't know you and you don't know them. So, for example, when we have our one-on-one meetings, when I pull kids to the side or a group of kids, man, it's not just about football. I got 10 minutes with them. And I start with personal stuff first. In that meeting room, in the big meeting room, man, I'm there early. Those kids are there early. When they're there early, I'm not asking them about football. I'm asking them about family. I'm asking them about, goals and aspirations. And that takes work. It is. It takes work. But if you're a football coach, you ain't scared of work. So dive into their personal life. Dive into getting to know them on a personal level. And then, again, show them who you are, all right? Tell them stories about your past. Tell them, some college times that you may have had or some struggles that you've gone through in life, man. And I'm telling you, when you get into a huddle and you're down 70-6 or whatever it may be, and you're asking that kickoff return team to go return, and you're asking those guys to block, and you look them in the eye, and you know those guys, and you know that they'll do it because they know you, and they're going to put it all on the line for you. And so building relationships is huge. And then last but not least, man, this is one of the biggest things I had to learn as a young coach. And I had to learn it the hard way. And somebody, Joel Fulani, the wide receivers coach at Texas Tech, we worked together at North Texas, and he saw that I was trying to be other people. And so he really took me under his wing a little bit and said, hey, you got to be authentic. You got to find who you are, and you got to place it in front of those kids and apply it. There's only one Jay Norvell. There's only one Mac Brown. There's only one Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney. When I was a kid, when I was a young coach, I wanted to be just like Mac Brown. I wanted to be just like Urban Meyer. I wanted to be those guys. So I watched videos, and I'd try to be those guys. And then, you know, when I got to North Texas, I wanted to be the next Tommy Perry. I wanted to be these guys. But when I was trying to do that, I lost myself. And it took some time at Pine Bluff. That first spring, I was trying to do everything like Tommy Perry because Tommy Perry had success. I was trying to be like Mac Brown, Nick Saban, because they had success. But I wasn't getting to show the kids who I was, and I wasn't getting the results that I needed. So ask the question, who are you, right? Find your identity, find your style, and apply it. If again, it goes back to the Twitter thing. I went out on a limb there. I started shooting videos like WWE promo videos because I'm a nerd. I love wrestling. I'm not that cool, right? And I got a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And so I applied all those things and I threw it out on Twitter. And man, if you watch those Twitters and those videos and you don't know me, you probably think I'm an idiot, which that's fine. But for the people who know me, you know, Joel was one of the first ones to send me a text saying, I love the videos. You're finally showing who you really are. And when I did that and I applied that in front of the kids, man, everything just clicked. The culture just changed. The ride or die culture became and started to build. We laid the foundation. We put bricks on that. We built a roof. And we're going to do the same thing here at the University of Nevada. On and off the field, you got to be the same. So it goes back to the Twitter, the social media thing. You got to show who you are. You got to be exactly who you are all the time. If you're a nerd, be a nerd. If you like wrestling, put it in your schemes, man. For the first few years, our punt return blocks were famous wrestlers. I had The Rock, I had Stone Cold. Man, it's just who I was. And when I was able to do that, man, the energy and passion just really came out. And so if you like to run down on kickoff, if you like to headbutt people, do it. Do it. Be authentic. Be you. Because if you're not, the kids will see right through it. If you're trying to be Mac Brown, if you're trying to be Jay Norvell, if you're trying to be Tommy Perry, they're going to see right through it. Y'all with me? And so in your meeting rooms, passion, the high energy, just be authentically you. That's the biggest thing. If you don't take anything from this, take that. Find who you are. Don't try to be Mac Brown, Nick Saban, Jay Norvell. Be you, all right? And show the kids who that is. Show those coaches who you are, and the rest will take care of itself. That's really it, guys. That's how we create our culture. That's the things that we've done to implement our culture and to build our culture. If you have any questions, man, please reach out to me on Twitter, call me, text me, whatever. I hope some of this was useful. A lot of you guys already do it. This is just what's worked for me. This is what's worked for us at the University of Nevada, at the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and continue to work for us as we continue to grow and build.
Thanks, Coach Sheff. I got a couple questions for you. So the point system stuff is where'd you pick that up along your coaching journey? Is that something you kind of created?
So this was stolen straight from Tommy Perry. I took this, when I GA'd for Tommy, Tommy already had a structure that he liked. He had a foundation, and this was part of his foundation, part of his culture. And so I took this from Tommy, and then I adjusted it. When you're in that GA world, you're looking at that guy, and we're all guilty of it. You're like, yeah, I can do this and a little bit better, right? So I wanted to put my own spin on it. Again, the first year I didn't. The first year I did exactly like Tommy, and I didn't have a lot of success. Again, it goes back to finding your authenticity. So I took this and I put my own spin on it, and by doing that, it helped. But again, it's from Tommy. He kind of provided me with all the tools to be successful, and so this is just one of those many tools.
Yep, I got you. Hey, we talked a little bit about this before we hopped on press record, but it wasn't all that long ago. You were at the Division III level. What advice do you have for guys, hoping to kind of take a similar journey as you have and make it to the FBS level from the high school or small college ranks? What would you tell those guys?
Be willing to sacrifice. Be willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish your mission and accomplish your dream. I had a mission and a dream to be the next great offensive coordinator. And along this journey, it's kind of taken a left turn where now I want to be the and the greatest special teams coordinator of all time. But, man, it didn't come easy. I mean, there was plenty of times where I went without eating. There were plenty of times where people had to help me pay some bills, and a lot of time that I just had to make sacrifices that I never thought I would have to make. If you want to be successful in this business, sacrifice is just part of it, not just from a money standpoint. An ego standpoint is the biggest one. When I got my start at Sam Houston, I thought I was the man. So I was walking around Conor McGregor style, Vince McMahon, just waving my arms, you know what I mean? And I quickly realized that's not who I was. And so, Coach Fritz gave me an opportunity. I had a meeting with him. He gave me an opportunity to be a manager. So my coaching career really started as a laundryman. I was doing laundry. I was setting up drills. I was doing whatever they asked me to do. And that hurt my ego because I wanted to put the headset on and I wanted to start calling plays. And I didn't like the position I was in, but it was the position I was in, and I had to accept it. And I had to make that sacrifice for my ego. And then because I did that, he gave me an opportunity to be a student assistant, and it's just grown. When I got to Mary Hardin Baylor, you can ask Coach Fredenberg, same deal. I didn't always like the position I was in. I thought I could do more. I wanted to do more, but he knew I wasn't ready. So rely on those guys who are in those positions. They've been through it. So understand that they know what they're talking about. When you're ready, they'll tell you you're ready, but making the sacrifices from a financial standpoint, from an ego standpoint, all of it, you have to do it. And if you're not willing to sacrifice for your mission and for your goals, well, then you're in the wrong business. You're going to have to do some things you've never thought you would have to do in your lifetime. But it's all worth it because at the end of the day, I started out in the equipment room at Sam Houston State, and now I'm at the University of Nevada. I've accomplished my first mission, accomplished my first goal, all my goals within that mission. Now it's time to set new ones. And that's going to take even more sacrifice. So enjoy the journey, sacrifice, and withstand. Don't take the easy way out.
That's good stuff. Being humble, I think, is the most underappreciated thing about being a leader, man. So
you got to become humble because at the end of the day, Tommy Perry always tells me I'm self-made because when I got into this business, I didn't know anybody. I wrote an email to Coach Fritz and he answered an email, and that's how I got in. And I just started building relationships from there. So he always calls me self-made, but that's not true. I've had a lot of people, including him, help me along this journey. And it's humbling to be in this position now because you look at as hard as that journey was and as much sacrifice as it took, there's a lot of great people that bought into me and bought into my mission and my beliefs and my belief in myself that I could do this. And so, be appreciative of those people and repay them. And I mean, you repay them by withstanding and going through the storm and never losing sight and never forgetting where you came from.
So being a big wrestling guy and obviously a big football guy, what's your thoughts on the XFL, man? You a big fan?
I actually thought, the first time around it was a terrible product. I think the XFL this time around, I think that they have done it right. Now, I don't like from a special teams aspect, I don't like the kickoff rules. But I actually think it's a really good product, and I think that it's a great opportunity, especially right now. I think the XFL is really about to capitalize because there's a lot of guys out there that are not going to get the opportunity that they would have normally gotten if we were having pro days, if we were having the workouts and all those things. Like the CFL canceled their combine and all that. So I think the XFL is going to continue to grow and continue to put a good product on the field. I'm glad that Vince McMahon is not running it like he was the first time. I think Oliver Luck has done a heck of a job. And I think that it's lost a lot of the WWE factor and is more football than it was the time before. No more he me on the back of jerseys.
Right. No, that's good stuff. Hey, lastly, best professional wrestler of all time, in your opinion, who is it?
Man, that's tough.
That is.
You talking true wrestler or just straight sports entertainer?
Sports entertainer.
The Rock.
Hands The Rock.
The Rock. The Rock was one of my childhood heroes, as nerdy as that is. Man, I loved everything about The Rock. My videos that I post on Twitter, they got some Rock, they got some Ric Flair. Ric Flair was a showman. I loved it. I loved his energy and passion. But The Rock, hands down.
All right,
And
then how about the wrestler part of it? Then who's the best?
the wrestler, the best technical wrestler, the best wrestler probably is Shawn Michaels, HBK. Shawn Michaels is an elite wrestler. And I used to love that dude. I still love that dude. Eddie Guerrero was one of the greats. I loved Rey Mysterio. But, you know, there's a ton of really, really great wrestlers, and then there's a ton of really good wrestlers who are really great showmen. And that's The Rock. The Rock's hands down the best wrestler of all time.
That's interesting. It's very interesting. There's no Hulk Hogan mentioned. There's no Andre the Giant. It's all
Well, you
off
know,
the beaten path, which is good.
Andre was before my time.
Yeah.
I don't like to speak about things that were before my time. I love Hulkster. Love the NWO. Big NWO fan. But, you know, you got to be careful with the Hulkster nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
So I gotta pump the brakes on old Hulkster.
I hear you. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to hop on with us, Coach Chef.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. Again, guys, if you're out there watching, I hope this was beneficial for you. Please reach out to me, Twitter, text, call, whatever. We can talk more ball. We live in a time where it's Zoom meetings right now. Let's get some Zoom meetings. Let's get some Zoom special teams meetings going, and get ready for the football season.
Sounds good. Thanks.